This meeting is now called to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Corman?
Here.
Ms. Palmer?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we excuse the absent council member.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Corman. The council excuse Councilmember Taylor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to administrative report, Mr. Covington.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, just two quick items. Road construction is still occurring in several of our intersections and streets in the area. I wanted to just mention two. This Thursday and Friday, during the day, the owners of the property, the old glass factory building that was destroyed by fire on the corner of Bronson and Main and Second, will be torn down, and so there will be some traffic controls out there, some lane closures while they remove that building. So good news is they're removing the building, but it will cause some traffic impacts. And then I want to just remind everyone again that beginning today through the 31st of August next year, Logan Avenue North between 6th and Airport Way is closed to all southbound traffic while we reconstruct that road. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Nobody signed up for audience comment, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 4 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
seeing none, I move we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Person, that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the committee of the whole has a committee report.
Committee of the Whole Committee Report, 2015-2016 Mid-Biennium Budget Amendment. The Committee of the Whole reviewed the proposed 2015-2016 Mid-Biennium Budget Amendment of $28,522,952 over the 2 years for an adjusted appropriation of $598,225,452 for the biennium, and recommends concurrence in the following actions. 1. Property tax levy ordinances. A, establish substantial need to increase the property tax levy by 1% versus the current rate of inflation of 0.25%, which is determined by the September annual change of the implicit price deflator. B, authorize 2016 property tax levy, including prior year correction and the 1% increase from the 2015 base levy established above, to be increased by 0.72% or $262,260 from the 2015 total property tax levy. And C, set the 2016 property tax levy based on the above authorized increase plus the new construction, annexation, and administrative refunds at $37,250,000 based on the preliminary worksheet provided by the King County Assessor's Office. 2. Interfund loans, which is a resolution. A, create an interfund loan in the amount of $4 million to fund 316, which is the municipal facilities capital improvement to help support general government property acquisitions. The loan will come from the city's water and wastewater funds to be repaid over a period of 4 years at an interest rate of 1.65% per annum until paid. And then B, create an interfund loan in the amount of $875,000 to Fund 108, which is leased facilities, to cover new tenant improvements, commission costs, and building repairs. The loan will come from the city's insurance fund, Fund 502, without interest and repaid within 5 years. 3, changes to authorized positions. The proposed budget will add a total of 15.6 positions and make pay classification adjustments for another 13 positions. Most of these changes have been previously approved by the City Council or are funded by permit revenues. These changes and the 2.5 positions added during the second quarter of 2015 will increase the overall city position by 18.125 full-time equivalents. Details of the 18.125 positions and 13 pay classification adjustments are outlined below. A, administrative services. Reclassify 1 financial services manager and 1 GIS manager to M30 from M26. B, community and economic development. All changes are supported by permit fees. Add a half-time senior planner, 1 civil engineer 2, 1 engineering specialist 2, 1 limited-term building combo inspector, and 1 construction inspector. Convert a half-time office assistant 2 to an administrative secretary 1, 1 senior planner to long-range planning manager, 1 mapping coordinator to property and technical services manager, and 1 plan reviewer to civil engineer 2, previously approved. Reclassify 1 building official to M33 from M32 and add 5% out-of-class pay to 1 building plan reviewer for the additional duties assumed with the elimination of the development services director position, and eliminate 1 development services director. Police, add 4 police officers and 4 police officer overhires, which are funded with salary savings. City attorney, add 1 legal assistant, previously approved. Community services, reclassify 1 facility maintenance supervisor to facility maintenance manager, previously approved. Add 2 limited-term capital project coordinators. Executive department, convert a half-time secretary 2 to secretary 2 and a half-time office assistant 1 to a .625 office assistant 1, all previously approved. Reclassify 1 communication specialist 2 to communication manager and 1 communication specialist 2 to communication specialist, all previously approved. And adjust the mayor's salary. Human Resources and Risk Management, reclassify 1 HR manager to M32 from M30. Public Works, reclassify 1 street maintenance manager to M30 from M28 and 1 wastewater maintenance manager to M30 from M28. Also add a half-time civil engineer and 1 administrative secretary 1 and 1 civil engineer 3. All have been previously approved and adjusted as part of the second quarter budget adjustment. Further, the Committee of the Whole recommends Council approve the proposed 2015-16 budget, mid-biennium budget amendments, and present the associated legislation reflecting the above changes for first reading. This is signed by the Council President, Ed Prince.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
that's why I didn't want to read that during committee of the whole. But Jason did an excellent job at it. I move that the council concur with the committee of the whole committee report.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Corman, that council approve the committee of the whole committee report. Did you want Jason to read it again?
Okay.
He did such a good
He did such
job,
a
I'd
good
like to
job.
hear it.
No,
All
we
those
won't, we
in
won't
favor?
do that to him.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thanks, Jason.
That is all,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Perez?
Yes.
Any unfinished business?
No, Mr. Mayor. No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pavoni?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Corman?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Palmer?
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I know Mr. Person has something.
I have 2 reports, Mr. Mayor.
Hey, Finance Committee reports. The first one, approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on November 2nd, 2015, claim vouchers 342495 through 342842, 4 wire transfers and 1 payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $5,702,227.05, and payroll vouchers including 745 direct deposits and 56 payroll checks totaling $1,559,870.98. This is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person?
I move the council concur in the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the next report is the Information Technology Application Support Manager. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the reorganization of the IT division with the conversion of an existing business system supervisor position, M26, to an application support manager, M30. This is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person?
I move the council concur with the recommendation of the Finance.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving on to resolutions and ordinances. We have 1 resolution and we have 4 ordinances for first reading.
Okay, the resolution is concerning interfund loans. A resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing interfund loans to Fund 316 Municipal Facilities Capital Investment Fund and to Fund 108 Leased City Properties Fund for property acquisition and improvement purposes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person?
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second?
Been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Corman, that this resolution be adopted as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the first ordinance for first reading is regarding property tax. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, establishing the property tax levy for the year 2016 for general city operational purposes in the amount of $37,250,000.
Mr. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the next ordinance is also regarding property tax. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the property tax levy for the year 2016.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we place the ordinance on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Ms. Palmer, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And the next ordinance is also regarding property tax. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, relating to the regular property tax levies for collection in 2016, implementing RCW 84550101, and finding substantial need to increase the regular property tax limit factor above the rate of inflation to 1% for a total limit factor of 101%.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr.
move the ordinance be advanced to second and final reading at the next meeting.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be advanced to second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the final ordinance for first readings regarding the mid-biennium budget amendment. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending the City of Renton fiscal years 2015, 2016 biennial budget as adopted by ordinance number 5737 and thereafter amended by ordinance numbers 5755 and 5764 in the amount of $28,522,952.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
we've had a lot of discussion on the mid-biennium budget adjustment, and because of that, I think we're all in concurrence. Therefore, I move the ordinance be advanced to second and final reading this evening.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Tonight.
Tonight.
Oh, advance, oh, I'm sorry. Is that what you said, Mr. Person? I'm
That's what
sorry,
I
I didn't
said.
hear that. Okay, I'd like to advance it to second and final reading this evening. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, I'll read it again. An
Well, I
ordinance-
wanted you to read again a little while ago. And I wouldn't have been so confused.
Okay. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending the City of Renton fiscal years 2015, 2016 biennial budget as adopted by ordinance number 5737 and thereafter amended by ordinance numbers 5755 and 5764 in the amount of $28,522,952.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that this ordinance be adopted as read and requires a roll call.
Mr. Prince,
Aye.
Ms. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni,
Aye.
Mr. Corman,
Aye.
Ms. Palmer,
Aye.
Mr. Person.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Okay, moving
Mr.
on.
Mayor?
Oh, yes, Mr. Corman.
Yeah, I would just like to thank you and your staff, and also thank Mr. Prince for leading the council through that mid-biennium budget adjustment. And I thought it went very well, very smoothly, and I think we're all very satisfied with the results, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mr. Corman. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Randy.
Okay, moving on to new business, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've got a couple of items, but first things first, we need to elect a council president and a council pro tem for next year and identify a committee on committee members. And with that being said, I nominate Randy Corman for council president.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Pavoni, that Randy Corman be elected council president for 2016. Any other nominations? Do we have to close nominations, or we just go for the vote? Okay, so all in favor of the nomination, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations,
Well,
sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Yeah,
Corman.
thank you to the council, and I commit to serve you faithfully next year. I appreciate having the opportunity.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we nominate Armando Pavoni as council president pro tem.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Corman, that Armando Pavoni be elected as President Pro Tem. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
And and we, our committee on committees will be the incoming council president, pro tem, and myself. And I believe Julia will set up when we're going to meet.
Great.
It'll probably be the week of the 16th.
Very
Okay.
With that, we've got a committee of the whole meeting next week, the 9th, at 6 p.m. in council chambers. We have one item. It's the King County Chiefs Association and their report on building public trust. Just a little bit of background on that. The King County Police and Sheriff's Association has been meeting since about February on issues around public trust. They've been meeting here at Renton City Hall, and our own chief has been very involved in those conversations. So I thought we'd have them come here and present their menu of options that they came up with. I think Mayor Law and I attended one of those meetings as well. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Prince. Ms. Perez?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Community Service Committee will meet at the Council Conference Room on November 9, Monday, November 9, at 5 p.m. And there are two items in the agenda. The first one is golf course operation overview, and the neighborhood's resources and events.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pavoni?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, a couple of announcements. The first is for November 9th, Monday, we will have a Planning and Development Committee meeting at 4 o'clock p.m. in the council conference room. Two items on that agenda. The first is a docket 11 update, and the second item is a CA zoning recommendation. And then I would also like to announce on behalf of Greg Taylor, the cancellation of the Utilities Committee that same night, November 9th. So that'll be canceled. And that's
Okay.
all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Palmer?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Person?
No new business.
All righty. Well, audience comment, was there anybody that wanted to address the council? What's the wish of the council?
Will we adjourn?
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Mr. Prince, that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.